Hey y'all, it's me back with another video. Today we are making apple galette. Starting off with the flour and the sugar, getting that all mixed up. I was super excited to make this. The first time I made pie crust, which is essentially what this is, it didn't go very well, so I was looking forward to trying it again. I have added the butter and the shortening and crushing it all up. This is literally the worst part to me because the butter and shortening has to be cold in order for it to work properly. But also if it's cold, it makes it harder to mix. So it is a struggle if you can't already tell. Once you get it nice and crumbly, I added in the vanilla and almond extract, as well as the apple cider vinegar. So it's looking good so far. Adding some ice cold water as well. And now I'm getting that mixed in properly. And this is all you need for a really good pie crust. Simple. See, this is the part in the video where you can see that I have learned from my mistake last time I made pie crust. Last time I was struggling to just use like 2 forks to blend it together. This time I went ahead and used my hands and tried it not to overdo it because, you know, the whole point of it is being cold, but also wanting to make sure that everything was mixed. Plus, this is going in the fridge right after it's all rolled into a ball, so I wasn't too worried about overheating the dough. While making this apple delight, I realized this was my first time peeling an apple. Yeah, I realized it was not that easy, and I tried some different methods. Obviously, this one is not the move because it's taking forever and the knife is like not even going all the way through. I kind of wish I had one of those apple like slicing, not slicing, but apple peeling gizmos, as well as like the one that cores it. You know, make my life a whole lot easier. But when I did find my method, it actually became like a therapeutic thing. So I started out wanting something to do it for me, ended up enjoying it, and I really like slicing apples now. If you know, I obviously could still do a better job and I could use a sharper knife, but I do like it. It's not so bad. Yeah, look at me go. Found a potato peeler and used that instead, and this thing is a beauty. I hardly ever use it because I don't peel potatoes either, but this was great for peeling the apple, and it did not take too much of the apple off. It just went mostly with the skin, so it was a win-win for me. Now this is the part I thought was going to be easy. I know you're probably laughing at me right now because I don't know what I thought I was doing when I was trying to core an apple with a spoon. Biting into that is hard enough for me to know that was not the right idea, but you know, kind of made its point, like, you know, it did its purpose. Yeah, this also wasn't a really good move, slightly dangerous. Towards, you know, further down in the video, I get to a point like here, it looks like actually, where I'm slicing the apple and then cutting out the core. And I think that's the best thing to do, especially with a recipe like this. It's just easier if you have none of those hard bits in there. See, that was a whole lot smarter than trying to use a spoon to scoop it out. Trial and error, people. Trial and error. I do also want to mention that, like, this slicing these apples is not difficult, but you really want to make sure that you're slicing them thin enough. When they cook, it's easier for them to cook evenly if they're all relatively the same size. So if you have a thick one and you're not sure if you want to cut it in half or just let it cook longer, I would suggest going ahead and cutting it in half because it makes your life a whole lot easier. This is the time where your house starts to smell amazing. It takes a while for the apples and the sugar to kind of produce like its own like glaze, but when it does, it is great. It is sugar, brown sugar, lemon juice, and then after I get the apples cooked down some, then I put butter in it. This is great. Mostly this is about patience. Thankfully it smells good, so it doesn't seem like it's forever, but you really do need to wait for your apples to get to a very like soft texture, something that you want to bite in as a pastry, you know, and not have to worry about it like snapping like you would a normal bite into an apple, because that's not what you're going for. You want to be able to cut it with a fork like smoothly. So think about that as you're looking into as you're stirring up your apple mixture. Here's your beautiful chilled dough. You want to roll it out. It is easier said than done to roll it out into a perfect circle. I realized early on that I was not going to try and make it a perfect circle. It just wasn't worth it to me. Also, all of this touchy I'm doing with this dough is making it very, very soft. And if you're going to do that and constantly touch it and reshape it, I highly suggest you put it back in the fridge, because you do want it chilled. If you take a look as I lift it, you will see that it's very soft on the other side. So soft that it might just break apart. And it did. So make sure that if you notice that your dough is also getting that soft, stick it in the fridge before you put the apple filling on top of it and before you put it into the oven. When you are putting the apples in here, try to make sure they're not too wet. I did not do that. I used a spoon, so obviously I dragged all of the juices along with it. I would suggest using tongs. That's what I am going to use next time I make this, just so it doesn't make my dough too soft. Because, you make your dough thin, and so if you make it too thin and you touch it up and it's warm, and then you have this really nice apple filling that you have to put in it that's also really wet and warm, you're gonna put yourself in a very tough position, especially if you're like me and did not put it on a baking sheet when you rolled it out. Because I didn't do that, I had to transfer it over onto a baking sheet, and it ended up tearing in the middle. But as you can see right now, I'm folding up the edges. It's looking like a cute little house. I actually enjoyed it at this stage. It was very nice. I had no idea what was coming next. My goodness, look at that beauty fresh out of the oven. Obviously, you gotta put caramel on top of it. And it's gonna drizzle so beautifully. I figured this would be enough, for video's sake. Ugh, gorgeous. The moment I have been waiting for, I finally get to try this apple delight. Check it out. Doesn't it look beautiful? And then with that caramel, it's like stuck to the plate for one, and also I love caramel, so like I will drizzle it on anything, and caramel and apples is like the best things. Have you had a taffy apple? If you haven't, eat one. That'll show you how great the apple and caramel combination is. Let's dig in. Oh yeah. All the caramel. That is really good. It's like an apple pie, but better. And it's weird that I say better, because I used to say that apple pie was my favorite pie, but the more I ate it, the more I realized I didn't really like apple pie. But these apples are cooked like soft enough so that it doesn't taste like I'm biting into apple and then I'm biting into pastry. It's like a very good combination altogether. I freaking love this. You eat it with ice cream. Man, I might even eat it for breakfast. And then the pastry is like such a good like flaky pastry because of the shortening and the butter. It is delectable. So good. Because it's apples and pastry, put that in the fridge for days, eat on it. And this time I made something that wasn't too big, so we should actually be able to finish it in a week. If not, I could probably freeze it. So this was like one of my favorite things that I've made so far. It's perfect. And then I didn't even have to make the caramel. I just squeezed it out, drizzled it all over. I should have took a video of that, because that in and of itself is beautiful. Love it. Yeah, make yourself this apple delight. I wanted to try it because it's like I really wanted baked apples, which is so weird. So weird, because like who craves baked apples? But go ahead, make it. Go ahead, check out the recipe on the blog. Let me know how it goes. I think it's great. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you tried anything differently or even tried to put a different fruit in there. I would love to hear your experience doing the same thing. This is my first time and it was wild. Even when I had transferred the whole thing over to like the thing I was gonna bake it on, it fell apart in the middle and I had to like piece it back together, and it was so sad for me. Like I almost like had to take a minute and like go through a tantrum. Like that's how upset I was. But I put it back together. I put it in the fridge, put it back together, and it came out wonderfully. So even if you're struggling, don't stop, because it's great even with that minor mishap. You know, practice makes perfect. So let me know what you think. You know, happiness begins in the gut. So eat, drink, vibe, like, and subscribe. See you next week.